Welcome to episode 147 from the Shed End. As you can see, we've got a new co-host, Dharmesh. If he was on the socials earlier, you would already know this. But if you haven't been on the socials, you'll know that Dharmesh has now joined the podcast. How you doing, Dharmesh? How's things?
Yes, big up, bro. Big up everyone watching as well, man. Yeah, glad to be part of the team now, discussing everything that we love, which is basically Chelsea. So yeah,
100%.
really excited to join the team, join you boys as well, and like big shout out to you boys as well. I've been watching your content for a while now, and yeah, they're smashing it honestly. So yeah, let's hope that we get our Chelsea back in some way, man.
That's the best way to start. I mean, me and Theo have already spoken a lot over the past 7 days or so about just everything Chelsea, ownership, all the rest of it. But I'm sure the listeners, I want to hear your perspective, your summary, your overview of what you think is going wrong with Chelsea. And like you said, how do we get our Chelsea back as well? That's the biggest question.
Yeah, no, 100%, bro. It's just we were discussing off air now. Literally, we're just touching on Roman Abramovich and stuff, and that obviously feels like a lifetime ago when he was obviously owning the club and stuff, and it's just changed dramatically um since he's not our owner now. We've obviously got Clear Lake and yeah, a lot of debate as to if of stuff they've done right, stuff they've done wrong for the club and stuff, um but yeah, man, it's if it feels like a different Chelsea, different life we're sort of living as Chelsea fans, which we're not used to. So um it's somewhat baffling and somewhat interesting as well. Some of the stuff that we're seeing on the way.
Mm. It's so strange because I think I was reading, you sent this article that we're going to put on the screen in a minute, but I was thinking not too long ago that the I think it's 2.5 billion that was seized in terms of assets, the club, property, all the rest of it that Roman Abramovich owned in the UK was seized 2022. So yeah, almost. I think I'm sure it was March. It was March, I think. So it's almost nearly 2 years to the day, um,
Yeah,
where things were seized from him, assets were seized, and the whole idea of the seizure of assets was basically to stop the funding of the war between Ukraine and Russia. And this, I don't want to get into the political side of things, but that was what essentially this money was being seized for, was to stop the funding of basically war. Now, that money still sat somewhere in a UK bank, earning interest every single day, 2.5 billion. It's a lot of money. Um, but then you did throw this up as well. And I want to ask you this question because I feel like a lot of um, the media that they're bringing out all this sort of talk now about Abramovich and all the rest of it. Um, Hold on a second. You've gone. Where have you gone? Let's get you back. There you are.
but
So as you can see on here, it says here that Roman Abramovich could owe UK 1 billion over tax dodge that helped bankroll Chelsea. What's your thoughts on all of this? It feels almost like, and I'm not going to say Todd Bowley and co are pushing these stories out there, but the conspiracy theorist in me wants to think that this could be something linked to the fact that they're trying to blackball him. When I say him, I mean Roman Abramovich a little bit more. What's your thoughts on all of it?
yeah, like it's a difficult one as Chelsea fans because we love Roman Abramovich for what he's done purely for the club, but let's get this straight, man. He's a proper shoddy guy, man. You just know that he's done some like messed up stuff to
Yeah.
get what he um to get his earnings basically. But then we don't take that into factor because all we care about is what he's done for the club and um the love for the club that he had as well. Because you see all these owners, for example, like Daniel Levy, the Glazers,
Yeah.
even John Henry at Liverpool, they purely run on business. But when we had Abramovich, it was purely on business as well. But you could tell that he loved Chelsea and he loved the club as well, and that's why he made all those sort of decisions that he did at the time, like sacking Ancelotti in the tunnel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Sacking managers that finished in good positions, um, as we would call as Chelsea fans, to try and get to the best, which worked at a certain time. And then obviously you brought in Thomas Tuchel, who was the last manager to play. to manage under Roman Abramovich, and yeah, all of a sudden, obviously this political side of things that happen, and he stripped off his assets. Um, yeah, I'm kind of surprised this is all coming out now. Like, I would expect
Mm.
this to come out during like an international break because that's where all the news sort of comes out. And how ironic is it that we're on a bad run of form at the moment, and this sort of story comes out. We've seen it happen with loads of clubs, like with stuff always comes out with United whenever they're doing bad. Whenever
Yeah.
they're on a good run, you don't hear anything, but then all of a sudden when they do bad, like all these stories come out. But yeah, it's a tricky one, honestly, because he's not our owner anymore.
Mm.
And obviously our success is built mostly from him anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially my generation as well. I'm 26 years old, and I grew up loving Chelsea through what Abramovich has done for the club.
You never went
Um,
through the hard times.
no, no, man. Luckily, never, man. This is probably the hardest thing I've had to experience as a Chelsea fan. Um, but but genuinely, purely for Chelsea, that's the reason why I love Abramovich. But um, I think people should be mindful that he, as a person, like um, you'd probably hate him, to be honest with you, if he was a person. But
Mm.
he's done something good for our. When I say done something good, don't take that out of context, because what he's supposedly done to fund his money is not it's not right at all. Um, but we all have that common knowledge of like loving Chelsea and supporting Chelsea, and that's where ultimately it comes down to.
Yeah.
And he's obviously given the best memories of my life as a Chelsea fan. That's purely based on what he's brought to us as fans,
Mm.
including my generation, um, which is interesting. So yeah, because I'm even looking at some of the bits of the article. Like, it says the leaked data shows how Mr. Abramovich invested in a large part of the wealth he acquired in the 90s through a corrupt deal, plowing into a company in the BVI called Key Grove Holdings Ltd. So yeah, man, it's just mad how it's all come out now. Um, when it should have realistically come out at the time when he had all his
But,
assets stripped and
well,
stuff.
you'd think that would be the perfect time to bring out a story when you're seizing someone who you think is funding some form of war. That's the time to bring out the story. But I get your points, and I take them all on board. I think, but we have to remember as well, the UK allowed them to come into this country as well, and they weren't
Yeah,
they
yeah,
weren't they weren't hesitant to accept his money at that point. He was allowed to come in, and at some point he must have boosted the economy in the United Kingdom. Um, so there's that side of it as well, which makes me think that I mean, publishing a story like that, um, coincidentally, at the time when John Obi Mikel, who clearly, his viral clip that went viral this week, it just doesn't make sense. All of it coming out now makes me believe that someone somewhere behind a desk somewhere is pushing some sort of narrative, and I, I don't know. I think the Chelsea fans have come out this week, and there's been a lot of annoyance. There's been a lot of um, anger pointed towards Todd Bowley and co. for the way that they're running, rightfully so as well, which I'm going to ask you about in a minute. But it just feels like maybe this is someone within the Chelsea hierarchy saying, look, we're the owners now. This is your old owner. This is what he was up to. This is the things he was doing. And like you said, we know that Roman's always been a bit shady, and he's had that characteristics of where does he get his money from? And like you said as well, when as a Chelsea fan, we've never really questioned it. We've just been happy to see the trophies come through the door. So
yeah.
what do you think about the current owners? That's the next question. About how do you feel they're doing, and the sporting directors and all the rest of it? Because I said, me and Theo, we spoke about it, but it'd be good to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, just on the sort of Abramovich stuff as well. Like, surely if someone from like Clear Lake or someone from the current owners right now, if they're planning all this now, like, why, like, that must be we're not getting it on in January, because if they're too busy trying to throw Roma under the bus, like, and
Mhm.
trying to make excuses for themselves, then
Well, don't you think that's part of what they're
clear
trying
that.
to do? Don't you think that's where they're trying to divert attention? So me and you, the likes of me and you, not talking about the fact that we're not signing anyone and the transfer window shuts in, what is it, 4 days? We're now
Yeah.
talking about this Roman news that's coming out. So is this maybe their diversion tactics to get us away from Look over here. Look at this Roman news over here. Not let's not talk about Mathys Tel and all the other players we're missing out on.
Yeah. That's a good point to be fair. Because yeah, like you said, there's 4 days left of the window. We've not done anything at the moment, and it's clear that we need players. But onto your original question about the current owners and the recruitment sort of team that we got in the hierarchy. Um, for me, it's not. For me, I don't have an issue with the owners that much. Obviously, they've got stuff a lot wrong. They've got a lot of stuff wrong, in terms of management, um, appointments and stuff, and the type of players that they brought in at the start. Like remember when but I think before we had Vivel,
Yeah,
when obviously Bowley and Barley first took over the club, them two were literally doing all the negotiations, trying to
yeah,
find the best sort of
Rafinha's.
talents out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
Rafinha, that summer
yeah,
of
yeah.
what was it, summer 23 or 22, summer 22 or
22,
23?
22. Would have
22, yeah.
been
So literally going
yeah.
into Tuchel's um, second full season, we obviously went for Sterling. We signed Sterling. We signed
Aubameyang,
um,
Koulibaly.
Aubameyang. We did as well. Koulibaly as well. So I guess at the time I was kind of okay. We're signing aging but experienced players, and that will probably prove to be um, good for us in the long run because of where the team was at the time. We obviously
Yeah,
had
yeah.
Silva, we had Christensen, Rudiger that
Rudiger.
sort of tore at the back three. And then obviously losing Rudiger and Christensen at the time was we had to get centre back in or one more as well. Then obviously we were after we were in a battle with Barcelona or summer for like Kunde,
Yeah,
Rafinha as well. And the planning was just mad at the time. But as fans, we're like, okay, these owners have ambition to try and sign players like we first did under Roman after Ranieri's season. So um, then after that, we obviously bring in a recruitment team, and for me, they're the biggest problem at the club. For me, if I was to rank it in order, I'd probably say um, Lawrence Stewart and Win Stanley are I think the prime issues at the football club. They're
yeah.
the biggest problem. Then I'd probably say the owners.
Mm.
After that, um, then maybe do I put it down to Maresca or the players? I'll probably say players, then Maresca possibly.
Mm.
Um, just because of the start of the season that he's had, and it's the same players that sort of we had last season that are not performing at the moment in this sort of like dry spell that we're having. So, yeah, for me, the recruitment is the biggest problem within Chelsea at the moment, and that's why we are where we are at the moment. Like, look at before we had Marina before working under
Yeah,
Abramovich as well,
yeah,
who was good up until a while, but then sort of screwed us over with the Rudiger Christensen thing and not addressing the midfield situation at the time with um, letting Kante run down to the ground, Matic as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
We saw the decline in those players. Like I don't know if you remember the 15-16 season after we won the league, the Leicester year of how terrible the squad planning was and how bad we were,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
followed
yeah.
up
So
by
good.
winning the league under Conte, and then the 17-18 window like signing Zappacosta, Bakayoko, Morata as well from the top of my head. The three names that I remember from the top of my head. There's someone else as well. Um, but yeah, the squad planning that Marina sort of left us in was is sort of a factor into why we've never sort of kept a consistent um, league winning in that sense. Like we never did
Yeah.
what City did, like win 3 or 4 in a row. We never did what United did back then, win
Mm.
leagues every year. And it's down to poor squad planning, which has always been a problem for us. Like
Yeah,
um, it's been a massive problem for us. And luckily we had Roman before who would um, pull the trigger on any manager regardless of their status. As mentioned before, like the sacking Ancelotti in the tunnel and stuff, and sacking managers for finishing like third and fourth. Like Sarri won us a Europa League, and
yeah,
um, he won us a Europa League, got us Champions League, and okay, he left by his own account, but we all knew that he was gonna get sacked eventually.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, man, I'd say the recruitment's been the biggest issue and always our Achilles heel when it comes to Chelsea, man. And
yeah,
you could say some of the players that we signed over the past 1 or 2 years. I don't like this approach of signing like all these 18 year olds because we're not. I keep going back to Man City. We're not Manchester City of like last season where we've won 4 in a row and we can afford to sort of sign these 18-year-old like wonder kids where um, we build for the future
Mm.
We need to build for now, and we need experienced heads as well as youth as well. You've seen every successful team that's won a league or done really well. They always have experienced players in their team,
Yeah.
with a mix of the youth as well. That's just history. Anyone can tell you that, regardless of the age and stuff or whatever. They can
Mm.
tell you that experience and youth mix well together. But having just youth, you're going to get inconsistencies,
You just need
which
leaders.
is where we're at the moment.
There's no leaders. I think when you look at the squad, there's
No, yeah,
no,
you're right.
we've always had like a leader, whether that's been Frank Lampard, John Terry, Didier Drogba, Gary Cahill. We've always had someone, Aspilicueta as well, that's always been a voice in and around the team, in probably in the dressing room, on the pitch as well. And we don't. I mean, look at that squad that we've got now. There's not many leaders. There's not. I know Maresca's come out and said that Tossin's a leader, and Reece James is the club captain, and all the rest of it. But you need someone with a leadership and the experience. And Tossin, yes, might be vocal in the dressing room and talk, and Cucurella might be doing that as well. But they're not. I wouldn't say they're experienced defenders. Like I wouldn't say they are like a Virgil van Dijk or a Vincent Company or a John Terry. Do you know what I mean? They're not
I
leaders.
agree. Yeah,
And that's where I think we struggle, especially defensively. You've got to have someone vocal and calm, but assertive in the back line. And we haven't got that at the moment. You look at our mid, I mean, me and Theo spoke about this, but you're right. We've got no spine whatsoever. You look at Sanchez in goal, you look at the defenders. Levi Colwell's probably the best centre back I would say we've probably got at the moment. Cucurella has played out of his skin most of this season. The midfield, yes, we've spent 200 million plus on Enzo and Caicedo, but you still need reinforcements. So that tells you that the spine isn't good enough. It's still weak in the middle. The striking options, I mean, the fact that John Duran is about to sign for a Saudi Pro League club, and we're in need of a striker, and I'm not even saying he's the answer, but the recruitment's been poor for years, like you said, and me and Theo have said it on here before. We haven't really signed a decent striker since maybe Didier Drogba, Diego Costa. Probably our last two real solid strikers that were prolific. We've had the Etos and Anelkas alongside them, but I'm talking prolific where it's 20 goals or it's 15 to 20 goals a season. They're taking their chances in front of goal. We haven't recruited well, and like you said, signing Bakayoko, signing Murata, even like a Dennis Zakaria in more recent times as well. It's just those signings have always been ones that were really rushed and forced through. And the latest one is Mathys Tel. Mathys Tel looks like he's going to slip through the net now. Do you think that's a signing that? I mean, he's only 19, so he's not. Again, we're talking about a youngster, not really experienced, hasn't really had much games for Bayern Munich. But do you think that's a signing that we can afford to let slip and go, and maybe we need to look elsewhere if we do try and sign someone by Monday?
yeah. I mean, the situation with Tao is interesting because um, he kind of wants to leave Bayern, but then he doesn't want to leave at the same time. But then
He
he
just he
doesn't
just
want to
doesn't want,
join
he doesn't
us.
want to come
So
to us.
yeah, he doesn't want to come to us. Honestly, which I don't blame him because we've seen like he's probably seen the situation that we've handled in terms of like moving on players. Like the amount of players we moved on from the
Yeah,
past like 2 years it's been mad. Like it's unheard of. Um, no, don't think any other clubs ever done a clear out like we have before. So I can understand where he's coming from, and like I think this whole thing is just stemmed from the Mudryk situation because which is obviously why we're in for Garnacho as well. Um, I think the way the recruitment and the owners are seeing it is like, oh shit, like we need to get a winger in because Mudryk's probably been baited out. He's not going to play anymore.
yeah.
Um, he's going to be banned completely, and obviously we're one position down, like
But do we need
completely.
him? I mean, is it a position that you think? Do you think it's a position that we need to be focusing on when you look at the goalkeepers that we've got, the defenders, the striker? Is it so? I mean, I feel like we've got enough cover. Even if Mudryk
Yeah,
does
no,
get banned, I
I
feel like
agree.
we've got the cover there.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely it should be addressed, but it's not an urgent.
Mm.
It's not urgent. You don't go January and spend like 65, 70 mil on a winger, because you're going to get overpaid. Sorry, you're overpaying for the winger anyway,
Yeah,
and two, it'll be hard to get them out the team that they're in anyway. Because say if they're challenging for a league or top four in
yeah.
their own leagues, then they wouldn't really want to leave. And we should be really addressing this in the summer, to be honest with you. And it's clear as day for me what positions need addressing in the team. For me, it's the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper should be number one. That should be the first. position we address. Then I'd say centre back. We need literally a competent, experienced bulldozer sort of centre back, and I'll keep going back to losing Wesley Fofana. I think that's when
Mm.
I think that's where that was the start of the downfall. I think for us, in terms of the season so far, I think losing him really hindered us. So yeah, I think I probably and we can't rely on him to stay fit as well. So yeah, what else? I'd probably say possibly another left back if Vega doesn't want to stay next season. It's a
Well,
shame because he's a good player as well, but obviously wants to play centre back, and Maresca probably doesn't see him as a centre back at all. So
mm,
we probably have to look for a backup left back or someone to contend with Corella. The right back
Ben
situation,
Ben Chilwell's
um,
there. I mean, Ben Chilwell's literally there.
yeah, he's there. He's there. Yeah. It's interesting with Choa because I was probably one of the very few people who wanted to give him a chance at the start of the
Yeah,
season,
yeah.
just to see how he does. Like, okay, fair enough. He might, on paper, he might not suit the system at all, but at least give him a go. Let's just see him for a couple of games, see how he does.
Mm,
Um,
I agree.
and then if he doesn't fit the system, that's it. You can bin him off or whatever, or say you're not part of my plans. But to not sort of play him in any minutes at all, and not sort of consider him as even a backup left back, even with Vega gone now. I think it's just I personally think it's unfair on him, to be honest with you.
Mm.
If we know that he stinks up the gaff, then that's it. We know straight away as
Yeah,
fans
but
that
I think
okay,
he's got to show Maresca that he can stink out a gaff, and I think if he's not given an opportunity to do that, which I don't think he does, but we have to remember that Maresca's seeing him in training every single day. Maybe there's something that we're just not privy to in terms of what's happening at Cobham. But I just think, for a player that is, I think he's got 3 years left on his deal. He's one of the highest earners, just below Reece James. So I would say that's probably the reason why he's been frozen out, because this club, the ownership, if you go back to Todd Bowley and Blueco, is they're adamant they want to reduce, and they've come out and said this as part of their reports in the Athletic, but they want to reduce the wage bill down as much as they can and save as much money as they can. But we have to give Ben Chilwell a chance, because if Cucurella gets injured now, who plays there? Who's going to be the guy that comes in?
it'll probably be Gusto or Reece James because they've obviously played at left back. That's
Yeah,
what Maresca will do because we've just given the history. He'll do that. Like look at Liverpool away. He played Gusto I think at left back, didn't
yeah,
he?
he did.
That
He
game.
did. He
So,
swapped him over there. Yeah.
but I think well fair enough because Cucurella was suspended. But I think Maresca probably sees either of them as backup left back. But then obviously then you're now light in the right back position because he sees
You've got you. Yeah.
Josh as a centre back and not a
Mm.
right back. Um, so yeah, it's like a domino effect really on the team, and I'll probably also say we need someone to contend with Jackson or someone who's better than Jackson. I think because I do like Nicholas Jackson. He started off the season well. He's kicked on from last season. I think he's having a bad patch at the moment,
Mm.
um, but that doesn't help with no competition in the team. Like you're mentally not there.
Mm.
Um, as a striker. So if you're going for a dry patch, you know he's going to start the next game. His position is probably the most safe in our team because it's clear that he doesn't trust Mark Guiu enough in the league.
Yeah.
So we need someone who's just more clinical than Jackson because everything up until the final third, like Jackson's actually really good. He
I've
can
got a
hold the
question.
ball up
I've got
at
a
times
question
as
for you.
well.
Actually, I've got a question
Yeah.
for you. Would you play Nicholas Jackson? Forget signing Garnacho. Forget signing Mathys Tel. But would you not play Jackson off the left as a winger and play? Because I feel like he's one of these players that is not necessarily just a striker. If you look at some of the play that he does, even for the goal against City, and it was Madueke, you know, done well aerially to win the ball, created the assist all himself. I think sometimes some players who we think are strikers actually play better off, feeding other players. I personally would play him maybe off the left and see how we get on there, and then go and buy us a striker, and then we've got
That's
options then.
that's an interesting point because there was a couple of times last season on the potch he played left on the left, didn't he?
Mhm.
From my memory and stuff. And
Yeah,
see, the problem I have with that is like when he's coming up against any sort of fullback one on one, I don't think he can beat players like that. Do you know how like say a Mudryk would do it, or Madueke, or even a Sancho or Neto? I
yeah.
just don't think he has that in him to like even cross the ball. I don't think he can. his crossing is that great either to put the ball in the box. Um, he I think he would suit playing as a second striker. Like, say if we're playing that 3-5-2,
Yeah, yeah.
or we're playing a flat 4-4-2, as a second striker would be good because um, he can do all that. He can hold the ball up. He can do his like
He's
one
good
trick
at
pony
everything
turn that
else.
he always does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that one turn he does. It works every time. Um, and even some of the flicks that he does, I think he'll be good off a second striker.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say hypothetically, like he was playing with Harry Kane, for example.
Yeah,
I
he'd
think
feed
them
off him well.
they feed off each other well. Like, obviously, the Harry
Mm.
Kane's never going to come to Chelsea, but that type of striker, um, I think Jackson would feed off quite well as a front two. Like, even if we're chasing games and say we need a goal, if it's 1-1, you Maresca could possibly change it up and put Jackson up front with someone else. I think that could work.
Mm.
But as with a question to left wing, I'm personally not for it, just because of the way that we play at the moment and what I want from a winger personally as well. I just don't think Jackson has the attributes um, to be an out and out winger. As a sort of left forward, if he was like an inside forward, then maybe it's a bit different because he doesn't have to do much work down the byline as much.
Yeah,
He's just
yeah.
more sort of in front of goal. But yeah, he definitely is competition, man, for sure. Because if that does happen, then who knows? He might get his goal touch back again. He might get a kick up the backside as well.
I just think as a makeshift, if we do, because I feel like Chelsea know that Mudryk's been banned. I think the news has gone very quiet. It also, came out of nowhere. If you remember when the news broke, it just came out of nowhere. Like no one was expecting this. We were told he was ill in the press conferences by Maresca before it happened. And I feel that Chelsea potentially would know the outcome by now of whether the B samples come back as positive or negative. Now, the fact that we're going in for, or we've tried to go in for Mathys Tel and Garnacho will tell us, like you said, that he's going to potentially be banned. Mudryk's going to be banned for a while. As a makeshift, I would probably use Jackson in that capacity for the rest of the season in that position and go all out to sign a striker. I'm not saying it's the be all and end all. It should work for the foreseeable or for next season, but I think as a gap to cover over, like I said, we've got Sancho that can play there. We've got João Felix if he doesn't leave that could potentially play
Yeah,
there.
I feel
We've got
oh yeah,
Pedro Neto. There's 3 players already that ahead of Jackson that would start on the left side. Tariq George at a push could even start there in some games. Conference League's coming back soon as well. So, these kind of question marks, I'm looking at this ownership and I'm thinking, you've got Garnacho top of your list on your shopping list. You've got Mathys Tel at the top of your shopping list, but you haven't got a striker that, we need to get in the Champions League this season. That has to be a given. So if we don't go and get a striker, if we don't address our goalkeeper issues, I can't see Garnacho saving the day. I really can't see Garnacho coming here and scoring 20 goals. And we need goals. And we need a goalkeeper. So for me, prioritization wise, those two are the key ones for me at the top. They have to be priority number one. Going in for Garnacho, it just screams panic from the
yeah,
ownership.
no,
And
100%.
it just
Yeah,
feels like a panic buy. It feels like it's one of those that we're hoping to make profit on in 2 or 3 seasons. But uh, let's go back to like the outgoes, because obviously Renato Vega's gone. Axel Disasi looks like he could potentially be going to Aston Villa on a loan deal. Now, that's with no obligation, I think, at the moment as it stands, with no obligation. Personal terms have been agreed for Axel Disasi. So it's just a matter of the clubs deciding the structure of the loan. There's 2 outs already. Now, we're light already with Wesley Fofana injured. We have to surely bring someone in this window. We can't go into the second half of the season, or this busy part of the season now. Conference League's coming up, FA Cup still. We've got Brighton, haven't we, in a couple of weeks. We have to get someone in. Surely we can't let this window pass by, and our only bit of negotiations and deals is to phone up Crystal Palace and get Trevor Chalobah back. Surely not.
yeah. I mean, on just on Chalobah, I think he's been great.
Yeah.
Um, since he's come back. Obviously, his 2 games he's played. Arguably our best player against City, I thought as well. I thought he was
Hmm.
solid, and obviously got man of the match against Wolves. But yeah, you're right, 100%. And it's just embarrassing that we're now 29 days into January and nothing's been done. Like, we can't even sort our outgoings properly. Like the only thing we've sorted out is Vega, but even we could have got a better deal for Vega too, and so we like a loan
Yeah,
deal, a better loan deal from Juve, and like now we're faffing around with like Disasi as well, and we can't
yeah,
even get that done. It's embarrassing, honestly. Um, just on Disasi as well, I think he's one of those players where um he should just go to Everton, bro. I think he'll suit like an Everton type of team where you just have just pure defend, pure defend, pure
yeah,
defend. Which obviously he did. Like everyone remembers, for his best performance. Obviously, will be the Etihad last season, where
yeah, yeah.
even Jamie Carragher said he's not seen a better performance from a centre back since John Terry,
Mm.
and that's wild just thinking about it because it's Disasi. But um, if we're talking pure defending, like he has capabilities of doing that, but with the way that we play, he just won't suit it at all. Like I said, like just go to Burnley or Everton and just call it a day. That's it, man.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and
it's a
obviously with Mings injured as well, that's probably why Villa are probably going for Disasi as well because Mings got injured again, didn't he? So
yeah, he's on his knee again. I think Disasi will do well at Villa. I know it sounds weird, and I mean I'm not his biggest fan at all from what I've got to see of him at Chelsea, but I think sometimes when you're in a certain system, like you said, if it doesn't work, you almost become the scapegoat of why things aren't clicking at the club. And I think sometimes if you go to a club, and this is no disrespect to Villa because they're actually doing better than we are. They're in the Champions League, but
mm,
if you go to a club that isn't as big of a stature as Chelsea, or the expectation potentially isn't as high as what it should be, you can kind of get away with some of the mistakes that you might make at Chelsea. You might get away with them at Villa, or you might actually just perform better because you've got less pressure on you, if that makes sense, as a player. Um, but I think he's shown qualities. I mean, I'm glad he's going. I'll be honest. I'm glad he's coming out of the club because I think you
yeah, I
know
agree.
it's one of those defenders that he's made him and Sanchez together just worries me. When Sanchez has got the ball, Dizazi's playing right back or even as a centre back, it just worries me because I know there's going to be a mistake coming at some point between the two of them. But no, I mean, if he goes and we've let Renato Vega go, that's another weird thing though. Why would you let Dizazi go and Vega? Why not allow Vega to play as a centre back?
Yeah,
That's just,
it's crazy because I just don't think Maresca sees the vision of playing Vega as a centre back. He sees obviously him as like an inverted left back or
mm,
a central midfielder. Yeah, I don't think really anyone's really questioned that, to be honest with you. It's more like, oh, what makes him think he can play centre back and not actually try it out when we've got actually Conference League games coming up in a couple of months' time. So um, yeah, it is a bit baffling with the Vega situation considering he signed like 6 months ago and stuff. And yeah, I think you're right. I think Disasi might shock a few people at Villa. He might um he'll give them depth. Obviously, he'll be able to play in Europe, I believe, as well. The Champions League. He'll
yeah, yeah.
play most likely play the FA Cup games if I forgot who Villa got now.
As
They
long
got
as they didn't
Spurs,
come
haven't
up
they? But
against us, but yeah,
yeah, they got Spurs in the FA Cup. So he probably played those type of games where Emery ball might suit him more. To be fair, where it's a bit more pragmatic. Um, so yeah, like it's just mad. I keep saying, bro, 29 days in, we've not addressed a single thing.
it's
Yeah, just
worrying. It's worrying.
you just think like, what the hell are we doing? And any sort of buy that we do now will seem like a panic buy, and that we've just gone off panic basically.
And you get to see like the likes of City, how I mean, Marmoush looked amazing against us on
Oh
Saturday.
yeah, good debut.
He just looked amazing. Like he looks like he fits straight into Man City in the Premier League already. But when you see how City have done some of their deals, just straight, no messing around, get the fee done, get the personal terms done, get them done, medicals done. They're in the team. They're in the team on Saturday. But I think we have to sign someone, and I hope we don't get to a point where it's like we just signing the people like a Sahon Niguez or a Dennis Zakaria. They're sort of like panic buys where we're just filling out numbers. We're just
Would you
adding
take
to the
Douglas
squad.
Luiz?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, you would take him, yeah, Douglas Luiz at
yeah,
Villa,
yeah. I'd have him.
at Juve.
I'd have him.
Yeah.
I'd have him. I think we definitely need
Oh,
midfield cover because I think um, Lavia is out injured again. I don't know. I can't remember how long his injury's for. I think there hasn't really been put a timeline on it. I don't think
no, there's no timeline. I think it's a while though. I
it's a
know Lavia
while.
is probably
But that's looking like a red flag a little bit already. I mean, a lot of injuries to have in the space of 2 seasons at the club. The lengthy injuries,
especially being
or
that young as well. Yeah,
that young as well, exactly. So it's like we spent near enough 60 million on a player. We haven't got to see anything from him yet. And I'm not look, he's young. He could bounce back, of course. But if he doesn't, I mean, I don't know. He just 30. I think I keep saying on here 36 transactions or transfers we've made since Todd Bowley and co took over. And I'm going to ask you, how many of those do you honestly think? Would you say, I mean, obviously Cole Palmer being probably top of the list, but in terms of value for money, out of all those 30, well, say 35 because João Felix was loaned then purchased, but um, which ones would you say are starters in our Chelsea squad?
God, I need to try and remember all the signings now. We signed so many players. It's like
I can bring the list
forget
up if
which
you
ones
really
as
want.
well.
We can go through the list, but
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? I think that helped, to be fair, because
let
obviously
me
the
let me
main
try
ones
and
are
find the list.
I think the main
Um,
ones are sort of obviously the Palmers. You got Caicedo, you got Enzo, you got um you just to bring up the Disasi as well. You got Badiashile. Um, who else have we got?
right, let me get
Mudrick,
this.
obviously.
Right, I've got the list. This is all of them. There's actually 30. It says 34, but yeah, all
Yeah,
right. Some of these, this is not the exact list because I'm pretty sure I can't see Washington on here. Oh, he is. Yeah, he's on there.
I
Right. So
forgot about him. Oh,
well,
shit,
he's
yeah.
going. He's going back to Santos.
Yeah, I mean, I was never on board anyway. I was like, forget it. Like,
What
I
a
just
waste.
took notice the to the news when we first signed him. Like, forget it. He's not going to play for us anyway. So
Let's fly through these. There's 30, 34. So let's try and. I mean, some of them I haven't even heard of, and I'm pretty sure this is not the full list. But Cole Palmer, yes, 40 million. We can say he's been value for money. Enzo
for sure.
Fernandez, 106.8 million.
Hmm. Is it that
let's
one's a tough one
let's
because
caveat this actually that these are the fees that the club thought they were. So I'm not saying that we can't blame Enzo because he's £100 million player, if that makes sense.
yeah,
But do you know what I mean? It is what it is. But have we seen enough of Enzo? I suppose is the better question.
personally, no, no. As sad as it is because I do like Enzo a lot and I think he
Yeah.
still has a lot to offer for the team. Um, nah, for the price we paid, nah.
Nope. I agree. Petrovic,
Yes, yeah. I'd say he's probably been worth the money we paid for.
14 million's not bad. From
Yeah,
New England. So
considering the
uh,
small sample size we played, he had a good season for us last season.
and he's playing well
Um,
on loan. He's playing well on loan at Strasbourg at the moment.
yeah. So
So
I'd say he's worth it. Yeah, he's worth the money.
Malo Gusto, 26.3 million.
Oh God. Okay. Okay. This is hard. Um, this one's actually got me thinking, man, because I'm so 50-50 on this one. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say yes, he has been because I think even though he's not having the best of season this year, um,
Last year he
I
did.
do
He did.
I do think he's a good. I still think he's a good player. And defensively, I think he's still good.
Mm.
Obviously, he's not elite, but I think as a backup right back or like a second fiddle player, I think he's good enough.
Yeah.
Um, and I kind of feel sorry for him with the positions that Maresca's put him in as like
Mm.
a second sort of eight. We saw against Arsenal the amount of chances he had.
Yeah.
Um, even in positions where you expect like Palmer or Neto to take up. Yeah, Gusto was taking up those positions, and attacking is obviously not his best attribute, and I think he's been hung out to dry a little bit
I think
by
he's
the
done
manager.
well.
I think he's done well as well. I
I
think
think he's
yeah,
done
for
well.
for, for the price as well, like the way I see it as well, like would any other top six team take him? I think they would. I think they
Oh
would.
yeah,
They
100%.
would.
He's not a bad. It's not a bad defender. He can get forward with the ball. He can cross a ball. He's not as good as Trent or Reece James, but he's up there and he's still young as well. He's still quite a young player. So I think value for money, yes, but
I think so. Yeah.
I'm gonna still put him in my no section for now.
Okay.
I'm put him in my no section. Wesley Fofana, 75 million.
Sadly, no. Just purely on injuries. We know that there's a good player in there. We've seen sort of the start he's had to the season for us.
Mm.
And whenever he's in the team, we look a bit more defensively stable. He's that sort of bulldozer centre back that we've been crying out for, and that we have always built up our success on.
Yeah,
Yeah, so unfortunately, due to injuries, I'll probably say no.
yeah,
And
agreed.
I forgot about him as well. He came through that first window, didn't he, with Sterling and all
He
that.
did, he did. And as you mentioned, Sterling, he's next on this list,
Oh shit!
47.5 million. Yeah.
I read your mind, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a big X straight away. Like, there's no way we can even put
Yeah.
Sterling. I mean, the fact he's on loan at Arsenal tells you, and he's not even getting the game for Arsenal as well. So that tells you
No,
all we
he's
need
not.
to know about him.
His decline's just been it's been mad. It's been crazy. When we first signed him, I thought, okay, we're getting a serious player here that is obviously a part of the 100-point team for City. He's scored over 100 goals as a winger. I thought this is the player we need in our team. But yeah, it's just he's not. His career's done now. Ever since
Yeah,
he
he's
left
at the
City,
back end of his career as well. It's not like he's 18, 19. He's happy to be back in London. He's won the Premier League. You know, he's won numerous different trophies as well. So it's not like he's got anything apart from. I'm gonna say, did he win it? He hasn't won a Champions League, I don't think so. Yeah, apart from maybe the Champions League.
no, he hasn't. No,
You know, he'd
because
probably
we won it before he came.
we want
He
he
might have
won't.
played against us actually in the
Yeah,
final.
he did. I think he did. I think he did. Um,
Yeah, and then obviously when City won it, he was with us, wasn't he?
with
So
us, yeah.
yeah,
So he
no,
hasn't won
definitely.
that, but he's at the back end of his career now, so he's not really too fast. But Christopher Nkunku, next on the list, 52 million, RB Leipzig.
Oof.
Got to be a
Um,
no, just because of the lack of game time, surely.
yeah, I'd probably agree with that. To be fair, I'd say no as well. Yeah, same reasons. We've lack of game time.
Mm,
We saw flashes last season of him.
yeah,
And obviously it was an injury hit campaign for him last season. But it's clear that Maresca doesn't see him as a striker, but or he says he doesn't see him as a striker, but he keeps playing him there,
plays
which is
him.
just baffling.
Yeah, I don't get it myself.
Which is which is baffling. But yeah, I say no for Nkunku as well.
Axel Disasi,
How much was he signed for
he was
again?
38 million.
Oh, nah.
No, I
Oh
can't agree.
no.
I can't agree with the next one either. Benoit Badiashile, 35 million, Monaco.
Mm.
Tell you what, they had our pants down there. 70 million, 80 million, almost 80 million for the pair of them from
But
Monaco.
don't forget Bakayoko as well.
And
We needed funds
Bakayoko.
for that as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, Buddy Show for 35. If he was maybe like a 15 to 20 mil defender, I'd say yeah, but because
Yeah, it's
going
40
above that
mil.
30 mil bracket, nah, yeah.
Nah, not a chance. Carney Chukwemeka, 20 million. I like him as well, but for
I
the
like
price,
him. It's a shame because there's definitely a player in there, but for whatever reason, there's a constant theme that managers don't rate him, and it
yeah,
must be something that he's doing if
exactly.
managers keep constantly not picking him. So, yeah, probably say no as well.
Moises Caicedo. I'm going to say yes for this one. I said yes the other day on that one.
Yeah,
There's Cole Palmer and Moises Caicedo was in my top three. My only three,
yeah,
actually. I've only got three
yeah.
players. Nicholas Jackson, 32 million.
Just on Caicedo as well, I think he's been a revelation this season.
Oh, yeah,
Last
100%.
season I think he was misprofiled, and I think he was left out hung to dry. I think in his
Mm,
first season, I think the way that
yeah,
Poch set the midfield up for us was disgraceful to us. Of you, it wasn't good enough. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, he's turned it around massively this season. And I've said to a couple of people, I think he should be our club captain, man. Caicedo.
He should.
That's just my opinion
I
anyway.
think
Yeah.
he's solid. He's solid in midfield.
Yeah, and obviously he's up there with like Gravenberch in terms of like tackles won and all that stuff, like
Yeah, yeah.
interceptions, and yeah, you can't get any better from him. To be honest with you,
Yeah, he's been good. He's been good. Nicholas Jackson, 32 million.
I'd say yes. I'd go yeah for 30 mil for a striker. Like obviously there's other strikers in the league that have been crap, like Rasmus Højlund, for example.
Yeah, 72
Um,
million for him as well.
72 million, and compare that to Jackson, who cost half of that, and considering the return he had last season and so far what he's done this season,
Okay.
I would say yeah for value. I think he's worth it. Or what do you think?
Nah, not for me.
Oh,
Not for
okay,
me.
interesting. What's your
But
reasons, bro?
I just think again, going back to the price tag thing, I don't want to focus too much on that. But I think even as a striker, he just doesn't do enough. He just doesn't take his chances. Um,
Yeah.
he could cost 10 million. I'd probably still say the same. I think he's just not that
Wow.
good of a.
Okay.
I just think he's not that clinical in front of goal, and I think that can still come in time because I think he's still very raw. I agreed with what you said earlier, the fact that he needs someone to have competition with or to play off as well. I think he needs that. I think if in anything, in any job, if you're just doing a job and there's no one around you that's pushing you to the next level, pushing you to be a little bit better in your job, and you're just coasting along, you are going to become a bit more complacent and miss
Yeah,
chances and whatever else. But when you've got someone who's waiting to take your job, you might actually do your job just a little bit better than that. Do you know what I mean? You might just be a bit
it's
more
true.
focused on what you're doing.
I use the analogy of like it's a bit different, but do you know when you go to the gym by yourself, for example,
I know what you're
and
going to
then
say.
like lift your weights, bro? Like you do it, but then say if you go with your mate, or say
Yeah.
you're with someone, you're like, okay, fucking hell, like I better like
Put
better
them
lift this
extra
extra
reps in.
weight up. Yeah, the extra weight. It's the same. It's the same thing, bro. It's literally the same thing.
No, I get you,
It's
man.
I wouldn't say like competition, but like just having someone there, like
Yeah.
doing that same sort of thing, kind of kicks up the back. So you're like, okay, this person's done that, and I need to do this
You
as
need
well,
to
or
you
be
need to do
better.
more,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
match
True.
or more.
Actually, you literally,
Do you know what I mean?
it's like that
Yeah,
analogy as well of like going to the gym as well. So yeah.
100%. Right, I'm going to fly through some of these because we're only on 15 and there's another
Oh well, okay,
20
yeah,
odd.
go for it.
Yeah. Right. So where was we? Nicholas Jackson. So Robert Sanchez, 25 million.
No,
Oh yeah, that's straight no from me as well. Marco Correa, 62 million.
do you know what? Wow.
I
Okay,
I said
I
yeah.
forgot he
I'm gonna
cost
do.
that
He's
much.
my last one. My last one in my top three. Marco Correa has been value for money.
Yeah, for see, I want
There's-
to say yeah, but the fee is so high.
It is,
Um,
but with certain
it's
areas of
been
the
great this
pitch,
season as well. Last
this
season,
season has
yeah,
been good. But I think with certain areas of a pitch, like there's not many decent left backs I can think of. There's really not.
yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, arguably he's probably been the best in the league in that position. Yeah, but if he's getting his goal scoring as well, which obviously is an area that he probably needs to improve. To be fair, is his more attacking output. But yeah, with see, I'd say no, but that's not me slating Cucurella at all. I think purely based on what we're discussing about the price tags, if they're
Yeah.
worth sort of that money,
The value for
I'd
money.
probably say I'd probably say no at this moment in time. But that's literally not me slating Cucurella at all
No, I
because
get it, man. I think
he's
it's
so important for the team and like he's
we
been one of our best players this season. So
we got to remember
yeah.
as well how slow he started last season as well. He wasn't.
That's true. I remember going to a few games last season at the start of the season. The cup games, like
Mm,
I still remember that Wimbledon game we had in the cup.
yeah,
He was getting booed by him fans, and like
I
people were saying like
remember.
"f off" to United and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's bad. The turnaround's been insane.
yeah. He's been a breath of fresh air since though. But Mikhailo Mudryk, 88.5 million Shakhtar Donetsk. That's a
Unfortunately,
no,
not
big
no.
big no. Kalidou Koulibaly, 33 million Napoli.
Nah,
Nah,
unfortunately
we
not.
got
Nah,
we got our pants pulled down again there
transport
as
time.
well. 100%. Noni Madueke, 29 million.
Mm, I would say, God, this is hard.
The value for money, it depends what we're going to, like, what's the
Oh,
criteria for
God.
that? I,
I
I,
say
I would,
output. It's like there's always room for improvement with him, but for that
yeah,
price, um,
nah, I'm not having it. He's not in my top three. He's not in my list. My list is done already, but by all means, add him to yours. If you,
yeah, like I think my list is pretty much the same as yours, where Palmer, Cucurella, and Caicedo are sort of like the three, but I'd probably just squeeze Noni just behind that.
oh, I've got
Um,
one more to add in.
oh shit, I'm trying
Just,
to figure who it is
I
now.
just pop,
It's probably
just
someone that we forgot. So
well, he's not. Yeah, we'll get to him soon. But he's not in the team at the moment. But he's someone who I think is value for money based on how he's playing so far. We're
okay.
we're we're, we're not too far down the list. But Leslie Okunchukwu, 23 million.
See, for him, he can be worth that money. It's just we need to
Yeah,
see more of him because I think he's a good player. But
agreed.
yeah,
Agreed. João Felix. Now this is 9.69 million loan. I think the permanent fee was around 47 million or something like that. I can't remember the
so we
exact
have to
fee
give
when
him
we.
two trainings basically.
So let's just the loan fee 100% not, because I think it wasn't like for 6 games or something stupid we ended up having him for in the loans. He got sent off, missed 3 of the games.
Yes, yeah.
So
I'd say overall no. Because
yeah, I
it's a
agree.
shame. It's a similar thing with Nkunku. There's a player in there, but
Yeah,
we've just not seen enough of it and enough of him really.
yeah, agreed. David Datro Fofana.
Forgot you existed. Wow. Nah, definitely not. Nah,
um,
definitely not, man. Nah.
Romeo Lavio, 55 million.
Sadly not, man.
We haven't seen enough
It's
of
just,
him.
I haven't seen enough of him. It's a similar thing to Fafana. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a player in there, but if it's injuries, that's it.
Gotta keep him
That's the only
fit.
thing that's out to.
Now, this is the one I might add to my list, but with a little asterisk next to it. Andre
Curious now who it
Santos.
is. Oh, okay.
He
Not
was
for me,
a
man. You know what? Yeah, I
what?
can't lie, man. I'm not on this Santos hype, man. I don't know. I don't know why.
Oh wow.
Like, the guy's never played for us. Like, I don't know why a lot of people are gassing him up a bit too much. To be fair,
I
like
want to see him though. I do want to see what he can do.
I do, but like I know obviously it's a different team, but you didn't get to play for Nottingham Forest, man.
Yeah, it's a
Was
good
it like
point. That's it. I
yeah,
forgot
like
about
you didn't even get into Steve Cooper's Forest team, so it's kind of like
I forgot about all that.
yeah, I think we're overrating him a bit too much. That's the same. That's my same thoughts as that Esteval as well. Like
Yeah, yeah,
on paper, they're good, like they seem like good players, but until you wear the shirt and perform,
yeah.
I'm
It's
not
a good
buying it.
point.
Like, for me, I'm not on this like Santos hype at all. I can't even lie. Like prove me wrong. I don't mind. Like that's fine.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what you want him to do. You want him to like prove that he's the player that we need him to
Yeah,
do. But like you said, he hasn't done that yet. So, like I did say, he's gonna have an asterisk next to his name.
that's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough. But
So,
yeah, I'd say no just purely because he's never played. He's never kicked a ball for us, man.
yeah. It's a good point. Good point. Cesare Cassidy, 12.6
Nah,
million. I'm not having that either. I don't think he's the level.
man, nah.
Kenji Paez, 17 million.
I'm not on that hype either, man. Just
No,
same reason as Santos. Like we've seen the good goals he scored for Ecuador and stuff. Like it's good that he's got into the team at that age, but
yeah.
you do it in the Chelsea chat, then that's all I really care about. To be honest with you,
100%. I agree. David Washington,
no.
17.2. Nope, I
Oh
agree.
my, we spent 17 million on him.
Yeah, exactly. When you see it in black and white, you have to sit down and start looking at the owners a little different. Angelo Gabriel, 13 million.
Nah.
Yeah, nah. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, 10 million. I mean, this is shocking. This is what it's getting shocking now.
See, I would have given him a chance because I think that some of the chances that
It's a good point.
um he would have, I think he would have buried. I think for us,
Mm,
so I kind of wanted to give him more of a chance, but yeah, nah, definitely not for the time that he had with us.
no, not for 10 million. Dennis Zakaria, loan from
How much?
Juventus.
No. See, I'm one of the very few people who actually like Zachariah a little bit.
I agree.
I
He
would
grew
have,
on me. He was a good player.
yeah, no, he was like that performance against City as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Was one of the highlights, and obviously, did he play against Juve as well at one point, or
Um,
he played a Champions League? Was it
he
no? Was
did.
it
He
Champions League
wasn't.
game he played for us? I can't remember
Yeah.
now,
I
but
feel like
I
it
want
was
to
like
see
a.
more of him as well. I think he would have
Yeah.
been a good depth option for us.
It would
Like,
have been good squad
yeah,
depth. In the
at
end,
the
I thought
time,
he was well. He done well. Gabriel Slanino.
same as the others. Just
Haven't
haven't
really
seen
seen
him.
much.
No.
Mari Hutchinson.
Nah, same.
To be
Definitely not,
fair, he
man.
was
That
a
was
free transfer, so we'll let them off. Free transfer. Diego Moreira, free transfer from Benfica.
no, he was woeful, man. I still remember I must still remember the game he started for us, man. He was
Yeah, it was
shocking,
shocking. It
honestly.
was shocking, to be fair.
Very
Um,
bad.
Alex Matos, another free transfer from Norwich City.
God no.
He's back on loan somewhere. I feel like he's gone to like Plymouth or somewhere.
Uh, rings a
Yeah,
bell. Nah, I can't
yeah.
remember actually.
I think he's gone back on loan somewhere. Ishi Samuel Smith, 4 million from Everton.
Who?
Exactly.
Who the
Never
fuck's
heard of
that?
him. I don't know who that is. It says here
Uh,
Samuel Smith, we've signed from Everton 4 million, and Jimmy J. Morgan 6 million from Southampton. This can't be right. I need to Google this. This is
nah.
actually an official list, by the way. So let's just see if we. What was that guy's name? What was his name? Let's find his name.
God, I've
Is,
forgotten now. I just know
is
that he's from
she
Everton. You
is
said.
is
So,
she Samuels Smith? Let's find this out before we wrap up the pod, because apparently, yeah, we've signed him. He's a Chelsea player.
wow.
Wow, this
Know that.
club is absolutely a shambles. We've signed a player 4 million for Everton, from Everton, sorry, to play in our youth team. You will
What
probably
about
never
Murray
get
Kellyman as well, man, from Villa?
Amari Kellerman. This is why this list is probably outdated, because Caleb Wiley is also not on this list, who I found out we've signed as well. Another player from
Yeah, I forgot
America.
about him as well. Yeah,
And like you said, Kellerman's not on the list. I feel like this player's missing off it, but Pedro Neto's not
probably
on
is.
there.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's probably the ones from the summer. So like Neto.
yeah,
Um, who
yeah,
else
it'd
did we
be
sign in
like,
the summer? I got my memory on, man.
yeah.
Neto.
Trying to think who else is we on there. There should be someone else.
Yeah, I feel like they should as well.
It doesn't even matter who else is meant to be on that list, because that list is
Yeah,
already too long. There's 34 players on there. It's too many. But as you can see, my light's already dimmed out. It's time for the podcast to end. But it's been good. We're going to be back on Friday for the preview. We've got, I have to remember who we've got now. My mind's gone blank. I feel like we've got a big game. Who have we got on the weekend?
West Ham, man. West Ham at home Monday
West
night.
Ham at home Monday night. That's why Graham Potter.
London derby, man.
We did talk about this the other day, me and Theo, on the last podcast episode. Yeah, West Ham. That would be. I tell you what, because I don't know if you'll be here on Friday with us, but if Graham Potter comes back to Stamford Bridge and collects 3 points, I can't
Yeah,
even finish the sentence.
it won't shock me honestly if that happens. We've seen these types of like scripts written before where managers come back to old clubs and haunt us, or they do well and stuff. But saying that, our record against West Ham recently has been good. So, um,
Probably a good
so
time to
yeah,
play
I
them.
think they're still finding their feet.
Yeah.
I think had we played them in say if this fixture was in April or May, then I
Oh
think
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
get more worried. They've
yeah,
got
yeah,
more
yeah.
of a flow. They've maybe signed a few players in January as well. So
Yeah.
um, so yeah, it'll be a tough game. It's the Frank Lampard derby as well, man.
Yes. Yeah. This is true. I forgot. We have to get 3 points, but we will talk about that. I'm sure you'll be back for, if you're not on Friday's pod, you'll be back on the Monday one we do, when we'll talk about the game, try and dissect it as well. But yeah, the Tuesday, because obviously the game's on Monday. So you can tell it's an evening recording, guys. It's normally our daytime recording. This is our evening one. But Dharmesh, thank you very much as always.
No, big up, man. No, it's been a really good debut show as well.
Yeah,
So
man.
yeah, yeah,
Plenty more to come.
plenty more to come, man. And let's hope Chelsea start pick up some wins. Maybe this might be the good luck of me joining the pod. Might get us on the winning run again, or it could go the other way.
It could go the other way. Listen, Theo's got his own omens as well. So he's banned from Wembley. He's not got the best record at Wembley. So, but yeah, no, it's always good to have like new faces, and I'm sure, we're expanding the team, so it's always good to have people, fresh people joining the team, man. So yeah, definitely appreciate you being part of it as well, man. 100%.
No, I love, man. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it a lot.
As always, guys, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you link the Linktree link down there. You hit that link, like this video, all the rest of it. We'll be back soon. Thank you very much for watching. And we're going to be back on Friday, match preview. Stay tuned.